anybody. We have knowledge, but knowledge puffs up. You've used it to be a stumbling block against young Christians. I'll tell you what, I don't go to a restaurant in a city where I'm known and have a glass of wine. You know why? Because if somebody walks in there that's a new Christian and has been an alcoholic and says, well, if my pastor can do that, I can do that too. And they're right back on it. I don't do that. I'm cautious about how I exercise my liberty. And we should all be cautious about the way we exercise our liberty. He's telling them, you're puffed up. And you're shaking your finger at the younger folks because their conscience is bothering them over this. Don't go to war with them over stupid stuff. And if anyone thinks he knows anything, he knows nothing yet as he ought to know. If you don't get the fact that you can damage somebody by exercising your liberty, you really don't know anything. Therefore, concerning the eating of things offered to idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is no other God but one. For even if there are so-called gods, whether in heaven or on earth, as there are many gods and many lords, yet for us there is one God, the Father, of whom are all things, and we for him, and one Lord Jesus Christ, through whom all things and through whom we live. However, there is not in everyone that knowledge. There are people that have to grow up yet. They're babies. For some, with consciousness of the idol, for those who cannot get it out of their head that they once worshipped an idol in this way. They got their peace after the temple got its cut and the butcher shop got its cut, and they sat down and ate that, giving praise to an idol. And now they can't do it because they haven't achieved the freedom of grace. They can't see it. All they see is that piece of meat, and they think about how they were lied to and how they worship somebody who was not God. However, there is not in everyone the knowledge, for some with consciousness of the idol, until now eat it as a thing offered to an idol, and their conscience, being weak, is defiled. I'll tell you something. We have liberty to do a lot of things as mature Christians, but we need to exercise it in such a way that we don't damage somebody else. Love. Our love for them and their conscience. I'll tell you what, if I have a friend who invites me to church and he says, by the way, we go to church on Saturday, you know what? I'm going with him to church on Saturday. And I'm not going to knock it. I have definite feelings about it. I believe the Word says something about it. I know why we meet on Sunday. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to major in the majors. I'm not going to major in the minors. And if that's what's right for his conscience, God bless him. I think it's wonderful. The same thing goes for a lot of other stuff. Major in the majors, not in the minors. And these Christians were majoring in the minors. For if anyone sees you who have knowledge eating in an idol's temple, will not the conscience of him who is weak be emboldened to eat those things offered to idols? In other words, they'll think it's all right to worship two gods. And because of your knowledge shall the weak brother perish for whom Christ died? But when you thus sin against your brother, that was the sin, not the meat. To damage somebody's conscience is to sin against them. And wound their weak conscience, you sin against Christ. Therefore, if food makes my brother stumble, I will never eat meat again, lest I make my brother stumble. Better in humbleness and meekness of spirit, I'm going to try to help my brother and my sister come to that place in grace where they don't fear those things anymore. Wow, Paul can sure get to the point, huh? We need to love one another, even in times when it's an issue of misunderstanding. Well, folks, we're going to take that communion that other brothers and sisters don't, and we're going to say, God bless them. Nobody has done more, both for the gospel and for people in general, than the Salvation Army. God bless them.